25 years of Wikipedia and where it fits in an AI world. This is MacVoices. MacVoices is supported by Incogni. Take your personal data back with Incogni. Get 60% off an annual plan at incogni.com/Chuck and use the code Chuck at checkout. Did you know, I can't believe this, but did you know that Wikipedia turned 25 last week?
I gave him a donation.
Good for
Me
you,
too.
Webb.
Yeah.
I did
Good
too.
for you.
Awesome.
I was going to say every couple of months I drop a donation in there just because I feel like I have an experience with them, that I've used them, gotten some really good information, and I need to support it in some way.
So, Marty, I wish Brian were here too, because I know we've talked about this before, but 25 years later, is Wikipedia a decent source, a respected source of information? It's a useful source of information, but, and I'm looking to you specifically in an academic environment. Do you feel like it is a source that can be relied on?
You're putting a big target on my back with that one, Chuck, when you say in an academic situation. Generally, we just need information. And in most cases, it's good. In many cases, it's been vetted. At one point, I volunteered to be, to kind of vet the pages that have to do with counseling, and they had somebody else doing that. But yeah, I mean, if I want to know what year this movie was made, I put the movie in, I get a Wikipedia response. I'm pretty sure that's when the movie was made. If I want to know specifics about history or some more complicated question than that, I'm going to read that pretty seriously and then check sources and do some other things. Do I want students to be using it as a source information? I'm mixed on that, because academics generally have a big blowback on anything that's new or anything that's not done the way they learned to do things 30 years ago, which makes absolutely no sense in contemporary systems, that somehow the 30 years ago was better and actually relevant to what's going on today. So yeah, I get information from it on things, and sometimes I feel like kicking back a little money.
So I applaud you for saying that you have mixed feelings about it, that it's not just a knee-jerk yes or no. But I have to say that the things that I've gone to Wikipedia and looked up are, I think there's a higher percentage of accuracy than some of the things I've looked up using ChatGPT. And so I feel pretty good about it. And I remember hearing a number of interviews with Guy Kawasaki when he sat on the Wikipedia Board of Trustees, and how intensely things are scrutinized by the Wikipedians. And, how they come down on anybody that posts anything wrong. And if it's wrong, it's not there very long at all, because they are so intent. Can they keep that up at scale? Can they keep that up at scale without using AI to do so? I don't know, because every movie I look up, every band I look up, every popular culture kind of thing seems to have a page. And how long can that keep going with just human intervention?
Yeah,
I don't know. Jeff.
Oh, okay. My next hot take. Schools that are doing like Marty talked about, or teachers that are doing like Marty talked about, where they're resistant to students using resources like Wikipedia, I think they would be better served teaching students how to responsibly use tools like Wikipedia, because you're not going to be able to keep people from using these. So they need to know how to use them in a way that's beneficial, and which also includes, how do you get a piece of information and then vet that information to have a much higher likelihood of proving that it's correct or not.
Sounds suspiciously like your position and the position of a lot of other members on this panel about AI and large language models.
And it's the same there. These are tools that are out there, and people are going to use them. Students will use them whether you like it or not. So we need to figure out, how do you address that so that they can use these tools responsibly, safely, and appropriately.
Again, it's one of those things where I just, it's an evolving world. But when I saw 25 years, I admit, it's like, really? I remember when it first came out, and there was the big kerfuffle over, students using it, anybody using it as a source of information. And they've worked really hard, and I think they've done a great job of making it a decent source of information. But like everything else, you got to fact check it. Shoot, I don't necessarily trust NBC News to give me, or CNN or ABC News or Fox or anybody else to give me the straight story on much of anything anymore. I've become so much of a pessimist because everybody seems to have or want to take an angle on things. And Wikipedia, at least the articles the reason I go to Wikipedia, they don't seem to have a political or ideological slant, unless the article itself is by nature political or ideological.
Yeah, but even then, they still try to present it in a factual way as opposed to opinionated.
Yes. Eric, you're doing a lot of nodding up there in the corner of my screen. You want to get in on this?
Kind of. The thing I guess I like most about Wikipedia is there are a lot of authors of articles that aren't coming from giant companies or corporations. Some of them, yes, are. But so there's more input from people you might never hear about on issues that are so obscure that it wouldn't necessarily show up in something like a printed encyclopedia. And so there's sometimes background that is really detailed and something I would have no idea or had never heard of and didn't know I even wanted to know anything about it. Other times it's kind of like just touching on the surface and needs more content and more sources to finish filling it out. So it varies a little bit, but that's part of what makes it interesting, and it can be improved. And if you feel really, really, really strongly about something, you can get involved or find somebody to get involved to update it. And that's much more difficult to do. You can't, there's not a really good way to go to Google and say, hey, when I run a search and I get these results, it doesn't make any sense because, the wool on this sheep doesn't really work very well for, making dryer balls. So you need a comment that says, get your wool from this other location so that it works correctly. You can do that on Wikipedia. It's harder to get that inserted elsewhere. So I hope they survive for a long time. And I really wish there was a way that they could get some dollars from the numbers of people scraping the pages to generate AI models. I don't know how that's going to work.
Eric, you bring up I think one of the best things, though, about Wikipedia is, and I'm sorry, I forget which word you used, but obscure things, very niche things that if you want to know about them, you really want to know about them, but they're never going to make the news. They're never going to make the big news sites. They're probably not going to make much of anything except maybe an individual blog or Facebook or YouTube or Instagram. Yeah. And so to have a place there and to have that kind of information treated with the same, I guess, set to the same standards that they do other things. That if I want to look up a band from the 1980s, the information there is probably going to receive almost as much attention as if I were looking up information on the Eiffel Tower. So it's a really interesting point. Marty, you just shared with our group, and I don't have a way to share it with the larger audience, but your AI syllabus or AI policy, AI syllabus statement.
Yeah.
Can you just condense it a little bit and give us an idea of what's in there?
Yeah. The university I work at has asked us to include AI statements in our syllabi in terms of the use, because they're running into different attitudes about AI from faculty. And actually, they've done a good job of creating options that you can put in your syllabus from these. This is the most permissive use. You can use it. I don't care. To, if you're going to use it, then you need to cite it. To, if you're going to use it, then you need to cite it. And you also need to talk about what portions you used, what kind of statements you did, and then even further down the list of possibilities, you can't use it at all. And there are a lot of faculty who are just saying, no, we're just going to try and keep that barn door closed. You can't use it at all. And the statement that I put together was more, if you're going to use it, you need to let me know you've used it, where you've used it, and cite it appropriately, and make sure that the citations that you use are legitimate citations for the information you got it from. That goes to what Jeff was saying about having instructors being responsible for teaching students for the proper use of AI. Because they catch students doing things that they as an instructor would object to, but the student doesn't know that's what an objection is, what is objectionable about that process. So it's really kind of an informed consent. If you're going to use, at least my version is, if you're going to use it, these are the kind of things you need to let me know how you used it, what your prompt was, and where you used it in whatever document you've produced. So yeah, and then it goes back to academic honesty policy if it doesn't work out. So
I will cut this out of the recording if you wish, Marty, but I'll ask it here. I find it really interesting that the institution allows the professor to make a decision on that, as opposed to having a broader, all-encompassing policy that you are required to follow.
It really challenges the concept of academic freedom. I kind of made the comment earlier that teaching people techniques that I learned 30 years ago and holding them to that is not going to help them with the jobs they're going to pick up in the next decade. So it's a lot of faculty don't want to embrace or even consider AI, so they try to close the door on it because their approach and their attitude is, this means I'm going to have to change my teaching method. I'm probably going to have to change my evaluation methods. I can't just make people do term papers. I'm going to have to find other ways to get students to demonstrate their learning. And our university has always been progressive. The institute I've been in, it was on the forefront of Vietnam War protests. And so that blue rebel kind of runs deep at our university. And so it doesn't surprise me, the combination of academic freedom and also the institution's culture is saying, you have choice. As an academic, you can choose what you want to do, but you need to inform your students of what you're doing.
And very interesting, very interesting. And I assume it's okay to leave that in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Just want to be sure because I wanted to make it part of the conversation, but I don't want to put you on the spot. So,
Yeah.
Today's Mac Voices is supported by Incogni. Take back your personal data with Incogni. Welcome to the future of data privacy with Incogni. In today's tech-driven world, protecting your personal information from data brokers is more crucial than ever. Incogni is here to ensure your data remains private and secure. This service is designed to help you protect your personal data from data brokers who collect, aggregate, and sell it. Using Incogni feels like finally reclaiming your personal space, but online. No more random calls, no more data breaches, just peace. You don't have to email anyone, fill out any forms, or jump through hoops. They handle the entire data removal process for you. It doesn't just do that and walk away. Incogni also continuously monitors if your data is put back onto these databases, requesting repeated removals, keeping your data yours forever. So you get less spam calls, spam emails, and get more peace of mind. Incogni has also launched a new feature called Custom Data Removals, available in their unlimited plan. It allows you to send any link from any site that exposes your data, and then Incogni's privacy professionals will go after it. No bots, no forms, just real people making your data disappear. Total legends. This is especially useful for removing records from places like legal databases or people's search engines that don't play nice with traditional opt-outs. And best of all, you can cancel anytime and they offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can get it completely risk-free. Right now, you can get 60% off an annual plan by going to incogni.com and use the code CHUCK. That's incogni.com/Chuck and use the code CHUCK at checkout. Right now, you can get 60% off an annual plan by going to incogni.com and use the code CHUCK. Again, that's incogni.com/Chuck and use the code CHUCK at checkout. Thanks to Incogni for supporting Mac Voices. Before we leave this, I just want to touch Webb and David because we just talked a lot with Marty about and Eric about the academic part, but in the business world, I know we're all struggling with dictums a little bit more that are coming down from the organizations as opposed to, well, use it if you want, don't use it if you don't want. What's your reaction to an academic position like that? Webb, I'll start with you.
I want to hear David first, and then I'll.
Okay. All right, David. How's it feel to be thrown under the bus and you're muted?
Oh, I'll get there.
Yeah.
Without disclosing anything, companies. I'm going to just get in generalities. Companies generally are going to have a policy in place, and if you have in the case of this one, it's Copilot, and you have the structure in place, you can do any searching and use it as you wish to help you in aiding your job. They're out there doing a lot of support of AI because they're seeing the benefits of it, and I'm seeing the benefits of it. Obviously, we're creating documents. I created a document looking to write on how you use the windowing feature in iPad, and I grabbed it from an article that was out on the web, and within a minute, if that, it was created, and I was able to edit it. So just as an example, and I'm seeing it in the companies here doing more and more support of it and wanting to promote it and realizing the power of it, because frankly, any platform you use, whether it's Copilot or ChatGPT or Gemini or any of those platforms are very expensive, and I know Webb can definitely appreciate that too with his company. So, but the bottom line is, I'm seeing business really adopting it. It really is something. I can't ignore it anymore, and it's definitely something we have to see that it's going to be something that's good. And not, you just have to be careful, and most companies are being a little trustworthy. I'd like to hear what Webb says on his side.
We've done a few things in my organization. I've told you before on here that we take a very tight approach to it. We have to use a sponsored system, so we do have a private version of the OpenAI platform, ChatGPT platform.
Mm-hmm.
And we also use Microsoft Copilot. And we pretty much limit people to those two tools only. Even though I've talked about I've not only have I used Grok, I've had conversations while I'm driving my car with Grok. And that's always kind of fun. But we've done some things. I have a responsible artificial intelligence oversight committee that's made up of middle level managers to determine what is and is not acceptable use. I'm very interested in reading your policy, Marty. I think I'm going to gain some knowledge by doing that. I'm not going to say I'm going to copy it because that's plagiarism. But and that's a no in academia. So, but anyway, I've said, a couple of 3 weeks ago, I wasn't on the show because I was in Florida in a room with 150 other insurance company CEOs, and you cannot get past. You get any kind of executives together, the word AI is going to come up. I had a conversation today where somebody said AI can do that, and it's just that's what I'm looking for. Is ubiquitous? It's everywhere, and everybody's looking at it. And I wanted to touch on something that Jeff said earlier. It's a great tool, but you're going to have to edit yourself from it. Don't assume that everything that AI returns to you is fact. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. It's like Wikipedia. You don't do it as everything on there is fact. It's good, helpful information. Hell, I was looking at it earlier tonight. Wikipedia about Rick Derringer, who passed away this week. He musician who wrote, among other things, "Hang On Sloopy." There you go. So there's your musical trivia for tonight. He also produced a lot of what's his name? Weird Al's albums. He produced a lot of those. Anyway, the point is that these are all great tools, but you got to remember to edit yourself. Don't take everything that you see here as absolute fact, but it can help you. It can help you organize your own thoughts. Okay. And that's where I think it really helps a lot. The problem gets to be when it you take it as being 100% accurate, which it is not. It's not bad, but anyway, there's my thing. Go ahead.
I'll also add in the Copilot. There's a web version and then there's a work version. I don't know if you guys got it set up that way.
We do. Yeah, we do.
Yeah. So that's the one great thing. I have not seen it in any of the other AI platforms. And I don't know if ChatGPT, you could probably speak to that. If there's a web version and a work version. But the good thing about the work version is, it's scanning my Outlook files, it's scanning my documents on my computer, wherever I have stored in OneDrive. So I can get a really comprehensive, like I did this or this or this, and I can really get it down to some pretty amazing data that I want to be able to review. And there in itself is the benefit, because believe me, employees are spending tons of time on looking for things. And the old days was you sat there and searched through your Outlook because you save all your emails. And going even older days is having those wonderful PST files in Outlook, trying to maintain that when you have 10 gigabytes worth of data, which but thank God that's gone, but everything's on the cloud. But yeah, that's what I wanted to add. Go ahead, Webb.
Oh, I was just going to say a counter to AI was that one of my business units and the guy who was heading that business unit was saying that how great AI was because it reduced something that took him a long period of time to do. It took him all day, and he could do it now in 20 minutes. And so then I looked at him and said, so that means you're doing 5 times more than you used to do because you're getting more efficient? And he has a job that's very easily measured. And the answer to that was no. He was having more time, but he wasn't doing it as productivity. So anyway.
Well, you just hit on something that I've seen cropping up a lot recently, and it's studies into how productive people actually are when they're incorporating these AI tools into their jobs. And the answer is not that much more productive. They might be able to do something faster, but they're not being more productive, generally speaking.
Why is that? Did they say?
A lot of it has to do with the way the businesses are set up and the things that people do. In some cases, it'll be, I do my thing, and now I can't do my next thing until this other thing is done by someone else. And in other cases, it's because the way people work at their jobs, they finish their tasks, and then there's just nothing else for them to do.
I mean, and that's the reasoning why you would have pilot users testing it out, giving feedback on how it's improving your job. I'm sure Webb's seeing it. I'm seeing it, that people are telling me that my gosh, this saved me about 2 hours of work, and I think people are seeing it. I think a company has to stand up and back it, and I'm seeing that happening. You know, and not just my company, many other companies are doing the same thing. They're seeing efficiencies. They're not saying it's going. You know, that's the big scare was, oh my God, AI is going to replace all this employees. We're going to fire everybody, and AI is going to do it all. I just don't see that now.
I don't see
in the
it,
future.
yeah.
I mean, or even further in the future. I think it's something it's improving my job. I can tell you that. I mean, so many things I've done, I'm able to do so much more faster than I used to in the past.
Yeah,
So-
well, and Dave, you're in a position where with what you do, it's much easier for you to adapt and
Right, because I'm a technologist.
Right, and so you actually do become more productive using these tools.
Yeah.
And a lot of these companies that have been rolling out AI, they didn't do what you and Webb have both been talking about, which is look at how the tools are going to be used and then adapt.
Right.
So you end up with these big gaps where someone does something faster doesn't mean they're more productive.
So, Webb, two things. First of all, after your employee took his foot out of his mouth, did he try to explain away anything, or because
No.
he-
It's you know, when the CO asks that kind of question, it's best to stay silent.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, when you find yourself in a hole, quit digging.
yeah,
You know.
yeah. Second thing, I did not-
And I like the guy, and don't get me wrong, he wasn't ridiculed or anything, but yeah, there's a time to speak and there's a time to speak privately. So
Sure.
Webb, I bet that person is now thinking about how they actually do improve their productivity now that they have found ways that they can.
well,
While
and Jeff,
listening to AI music slop.
There you go.
That's right.
but I think
or
this is-
looking up Rick Derringer and what he was famous for. So
yeah, and I did not know Rick Derringer had passed away. Thank you, Webb. That's a loss.
Yeah.
I still listen to his live album, and I know that he had a very broad career. I don't think I knew he produced Weird Al. That was very interesting.
yeah.
But he in the latter part of his career, I think he switched over to more of a jazz thing. So,
Yeah, he got into the Christian rock thing too for a while with his family. So yeah,
I didn't know
it's
that.
fine. It's fine.
Yeah. Very talented. Very, very
Rock and
talented.
Roll Hoochie Coo. There's another one
Yep.
that he wrote.
Yep. I feel like these conversations are good because we're all seeing the impact of AI around us. And maybe we need to evaluate, not just how we can do it, use it and do things faster, better, bigger with it, but also what that means for our overall productivity and our value to our employers. So, it's not the first time it's not the first time it's come up. It's not going to be the last, but it is moving fast. No question. I can't believe we've spent a lot of time on just a couple stories here tonight, but there's some I definitely want to get to.
It's a good conversation.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. This one though this has the potential to generate more. OpenAI is launching a cheaper ChatGPT subscription, and ads are coming soon. Is anybody surprised by this? And
No.
I put this in our Slack this week when this issue came up. I personally am fine with this because a cheaper subscription lets more people have access to it, and it's going to be paid for with ads. And if I want to pony up the money, which I have up to this point, and have an ad-free experience, that's my choice. I just sincerely hope they don't try to mix the two, because that's where you feel like you're being stolen from.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Have they clarified that? Like, ads only in free, or are there tiers in the paid plans where you still get ads?
The $8 tier, I think, still has plans. The $8 tier is for those folks who, on the free tier, use it a few times and then they run out of questions that they can ask. They run out of tokens or whatever you want to call it. The $8 tier increases the amount of information they can ask of it, but that still includes ads from what I've seen. It's the $20 tier that has been the previous paid subscription that won't have ads with it.
Right. It went from just $20 to $200 if you wanted the pro version a month. A little extreme for most people. But the Go plan is the one that's the $8 a month and has everything that's in free, and then just adds more access to their bigger models like GPT 5.2 and more uploads and more messages. So you still get you do get more image creation. So you got a lot more to work with, because if someone doesn't care about it that much, then that's fine. The free tier is fine, and you'll get what you get. And then if it says you run out, you run out. But I just wouldn't want to do that, because just like Marty and many others and Chuck and others who have ChatGPT, I want that because I want to have the full tilt of it all. I have a Google Workspace account, and I keep forgetting Gemini's now been included in that plan. I'm not paying a lot for it because I use it for my podcast. I probably should start utilizing that a little more and get familiar with it. So, and that's really what I want to do. I haven't looked at the others like Grok and Claude and the others. Well, I'm going to avoid Grok, honestly. I'm sure all these AI programs are going to start doing this type of pricing at some point, I would bet.
Well, it was either on a podcast or I read it. I'm not sure which, but basically, OpenAI is going to have to do something to start earning a lot more money, because they're cutting all these deals, they're spending all this stuff, and ads are the way to go because of the amount of opportunities to insert an ad into the queries or in amongst the queries. So it almost seems like a do or die kind of thing, because otherwise they're not going to do it with somebody paying $2 a month, $8 a month, $20 a month,
right,
even a couple $100 a month. You're just not going to do it at scale. But advertising, you can. So,
well, as long as, like Marty said, or who had said that? I think Jeff said it, that the ads are not in there when you're paying for a plan. That's what bothers me, is when you get these types of services that want to still show you ads, but you're paying for it. So,
yeah. Jeff. Oh shoot! This is okay. Oh, it's my fault. Hold on. I'm trying to throw this in the chat.
I'm glad for once, whatever it is not my fault.
I think Marty had a comment.
Yeah, Marty. I'm sorry, I missed yours.
Yeah.
Please,
my comment was kind of based on this whole, how did Apple wind up with Gemini instead of ChatGPT?
Mm-hmm.
And I think, with Sam Altman saying all hands on deck, we've got to do something different here. This might be part of the results of the all hands on deck. But I think you're right, Chuck. OpenAI has to find some way to commoditize their product. And they're not going to be able to get it on data, and they're not going to be able to get it on user information. So I think that's part of the reason why Apple said, "No, we'll work with Gemini. We have an agreement. We've worked with them before. We're going to make sure that the information, user information, is protected." Whereas that user information would have been really valuable to OpenAI as a commodity. So I think this is a response to, or it is part of why we see this shift with OpenAI, ChatGPT moving away as the next up after you've gone through the S lady. Doesn't mean it won't still be there. Won't mean since I have a paid account, I can't connect it to my S lady. It's just not, they just did not want to get into bed with OpenAI, probably with what they wanted from Apple.
Marty, I've honestly forgot about this. That's a really interesting point because just tonight I was looking over a couple articles about the lawsuit that Elon Musk is bringing against OpenAI because they abandoned or modified their nonprofit status that he allegedly was promised, or it was told to him that that would always be one of their foundations, and instead they're shifting over. And so, there's that maybe the original vision was one thing, and then you get into something else here. So
my desk is pretty crowded. There's a lot of crap on it, but somewhere here I have a couple of wee tiny violins for Elon Musk.
I wasn't commenting on Elon. I was commenting on the fact that OpenAI originally had one vision and now it's changed. So, yeah. But go look for your tiny violin.
On Elon.
Yeah, I know you are. Yeah, and feel free to pull out your violins and play them whenever you want.
I drive his car and I like it.
Okay,
there you go. So,
yeah, there you go. There you go.
Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices, or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.